Welcome aboard the Beseto Express. We'll cover 3 countries: Beijing in China, Sei, Seoul in Korea, and Tokyo in Japan. Together we'll explore the culture of Beseto. All aboard the Beseto Express!
Giving salvation of all sins and leading humans to a state of absolute goodness. This is the ultimate goal of religion and a precondition to achieve a utopia on earth for both the East and the West. Buddhism, which is the representative religion of the East, has been emphasizing the world of Buddha through its disciples and practitioners, the Buddhist monks. Buddhism, which originated in India, found its way to China and then to Korea and Japan. It has assimilated into the traditional cultures of the 3 Beseto countries and has become the foundation of their history and culture. These Korean Buddhist monks have carried on the tradition of an ascetic life deep in the mountains away from people. The Lama religion, which is a sect of Buddhism, believes in the Lama, which means a monk of great virtue. This Lama religion, which found its way to China from the regions of Tibet in the mid-7th century, is developing as a world religion through the Dalai Lama. Buddhism of Japan formed a unique culture as it combined with folk religion. The pragmatic Japanese people reformed Buddhism to a way that fits their lifestyle, such as recognizing the marriage of Buddhist monks and creating a unique culture.
Hello everyone and welcome to Beseto Express. There are 2 types of religions that greatly influence the cultures of Korea, China, and Japan. They are Buddhism and Confucianism. But only Buddhism still remains in the form of a religion. Many say that you cannot learn the unique cultures of the Orient well unless you understand Buddhism. That is why many visitors to the 3 Beseto countries always visit their famous temples. Today, we're going to meet with the monks of the temples in Korea, China, and Japan.
The Buddhist temple, which is like a church in Christianity, tells the hour of rising at 3 o'clock in the morning. In Korean Buddhist temples, where the monks live together and practice ascetic ways from the world, they awaken humans, animals, and the whole world using 4 objects. And then, a ceremony honoring Buddha is held. The monks who have gathered say their prayers to Buddha with the sound of the wooden gongs. They show Buddha their every courtesy by bending their knees and bowing their foreheads all the way down to the floor and then singing together. And as a daily morning routine, they wipe off all the dust inside and outside of the temple. This cleaning up routine is a means of training for Buddhism, which believes that righteous mind and body lay where it is clean. It helps to have a clean and pure state of mind. The temple, which wakes up earlier than anybody else and prepares for the morning, does not make a single loud sound. It seems to show temperance among other elements of training. Korean Buddhist monks, who live in temples far away from home, lead a life that worships Buddha 24 hours a day. The Lama monks, who were once in the center of politics, now lead the people as religious and political leader. But even to them, the number 1 goal is to reach the world of enlightenment and achieving a state of mind equal to that of Buddha. The morning of the Lama religion starts with the sound of the loud horns. Monks start to gather one by one, and a Buddha worshipping ceremony goes on in a solemn atmosphere. The Laman religion, which reached its height during the Yuan dynasty, a period when the descendants of Genghis Khan ruled the nation, is still thought of as a mysterious religion because of its secretive methods of training. Indian Buddhism combines with the Tao religion as it was passed on to China, so Chinese Buddhism naturally took the idea of reincarnation. The Laman religion believes in this idea as well. Their leader, the Dalai Lama, is believed to be the reincarnation of the same person for numerous years, although their looks are different. The Buddhist temples of Japan wake up with a loud bell sound. And then, the huge sound of the drums and bells follow to tell the start of another day. The early Buddhism of Japan had a philosophical side to it, emphasizing the unity of the nation. But now it has transformed itself into a side more of wishing good fortune for oneself. So nowadays, the number of monks who live with the ordinary people rather than following the original method of ascetic training of Buddhism is growing. But they still keep strict times for worshiping Buddha. As a character of the Japanese people, they lay great significance on the formalities and procedures in their morning worship of Buddha. Although they took in Buddhism from outside, the Japanese took in only the things that suited their tastes, and they have developed their own unique religion. That is why the Buddhism of Japan is more open and practical than the Buddhism of China or Korea. Pursuing happiness in life, rather than pondering about life after death, is another characteristic of Japanese Buddhism. Buddhist monks live with families and get accustomed to the world, rather than undertaking hard and difficult aesthetic training.
The monks of Korea, China, and Japan are all followers who follow the teachings of Buddha. However, since the background and history of how Buddhism developed differs in each country, there's a slight difference in the ways of teaching and living for the monks. If you look very carefully, there's already a difference in the way that they dress.
The Buddhist monks of Korea keep the most strict watch against having greed and personal desires. They believe that greed is the seed of all sin, so the only possessions of the monks are one pair of clothes, one sleeping gown, eating utensils, and one bowl. So, Buddhist monks undergoing training buy a new pair of clothes only after their old clothes are all worn out and can't be worn anymore. Even during the eating hours, meat and all kinds of alcoholic beverages are forbidden. The Korean Buddhist monks eat only a most temperate meal. The monks also have their own eating bowl, so every meal hour they take out their bowl and chopsticks from a cloth wrap and lay them in front of them. When the meal of one bowl of rice, soup, water, and just one or two vegetable dishes is finished, the monks wash their bowls with water, which is drank after washing it, and dry it off with a cloth, and it is kept with care once again. All this is a part of the training. Labor is also a method of training that cannot be left out. Labor is thought of as very sacred. There is even a saying which says, "One who does not work shall not eat." In the mountainous areas, picking tea leaves is the job of the Buddhist monks. Good ones are picked separately to be used for the worshipping of Buddha. Dado has been another method of training since long ago. It is held as a ceremony after the meal. An and an important means of training that cannot be left out from a day's task is the time for studying Buddhist scriptures. The Sanbang, which is a kind of study room, is restricted to only those Buddhist monks undergoing training. The training to achieve enlightenment is started, and a lecture of a wise Buddhist priest begins. Korean Buddhist monks, who first need to achieve enlightenment before propagating Buddhism to the people, live a life that forbids marriage and all other forms of worldly matters.
차별상을 나타내는 거죠. 차별상.
스님이라고 하는 것은 신도와 중생 간의 그 양면적 기능이 있는데 하나는 부처님을 대신하는 기능이 하나 있고 또 하나는 전달자의 기능이 있습니다. 그래서 불법을 전달하고 부처님의 기능을 대신하는 거예요. 그래서 이 세상에 살아있는 부처님을 대신하는 것입니다. 사실은. 그래서 이러한 부처님을 대신해서 중생에게 올바른 가르침을 전달하는 매개자가 되는 거예요. 그것이 스님의 역할입니다.
The traditional dress of the Laman monks is the red and yellow priest robe. Following the fundamental rule of no possession, the Laman priests even acted as a religious and political leader in the center of the nation's politics. But nowadays, they lead a hermit life and believe labor as an important method of ascetic training and discipline. Most of the Laman monks enter priesthood at a very young age. The life of a monk, who must lead a virtuous life of modesty and temperance, is a difficult test to endure, but most grow up to be proper Laman monks. The Laman religion sometimes performs ceremonies for the masses to drive away evil spirits or to wish for good harvests. When they hold rituals to wish for good harvests, they always choose the best date and invite other monks to join in the events. The monks can prepare food that is needed in the temples through such events.
나는 지내라.
나는 생각이야. 그자들은
민지
그래서 이런 강마다 와만 여러
야래
강마에서
가만지
와마에서
뭐만
In Japan, virtuous monks were consulted for affairs of the nation in the past. The king would present silk robes to those monks who became his wise consultants. From then on, the robes of Buddhist monks started to become elaborate, and such fancy robes became a custom for formal occasions. Japanese Buddhist monks often appear in front of people with such elaborate dresses instead of their simple dresses worn for ordinary days. Japanese Buddhist monks don't have money restrictions to what foods they can eat either. But they strictly follow rules in the time of their training. They do not start eating their meals unless they have completed their 6 prayers, thinking about how many people must have worked for the food, and also if they themselves really have the right to eat the food. The meals consist of only rice, soybean paste soup, and pickled vegetables. But once this training process is over, they are allowed to eat meat. The quiet temple. The only noisy time of the day is cleaning time, and all monks carry out their duties voluntarily. What can't be left out is the study of the Buddhist scriptures. Nowadays, high technology is being used to get closer to Buddhism with a more systemized approach. The standard of Japan's organization of Buddhist principles is among the highest in the world.
日本の場合はね、あらかたが今言ったように家族、お寺がね家族を持っておりますので、その家族の誰かが継ぐという。ですからこれはもう生まれながらにしてそのようにこう仕向けられてしまう。一旦は反発するけれども後が継がないと困るんだということのためにですねやはり外に出ていってももう一回お寺に入ってくると、世襲的なものが大半でございます。
The Korean word for monk, 스님, is a short term for the Korean word 스승님, which means teacher. people, whether they believe in Buddhism or not, call monks teacher and respect them. Monks are respected by many people, not only because they're religious people, but spiritual teachers. The reason they are respected is because they have no greed and they never get lazy on self-training. Monks train themselves through meditation, reading books, and by other various methods such as penance. Buddhism teaches that one can reach spiritual enlightenment through such ongoing self-training.
The Bianjing is the method of training of the Lama religion. It's the time of forming groups of threes and studying religious doctrines together. One person stands and answers questions, one person sits and asks the questions, and the third person just listens and thinks. They believe that through this training of taking turns, asking, answering, and thinking, they slowly approach the state of spiritual enlightenment and finally reach the world of salvation at the end, to become a Buddha themselves. In Japan, various religious sects practice their own methods of training and doctrines. The training of the Japanese Buddhist monks are done with much concentration in the first 2 years after one enters Buddhism. The meeting with the elders priest is especially important means of training. Japanese Buddhist monks who advocate Buddhism among the masses return to a secular life after such discipline and training and teach practical hope to ordinary people. Korea has combined various Buddhist doctrines from long ago and advocates a united form of Buddhism. So the Buddhist monks of Korea have traditionally thought of Zen Buddhist meditation as the most important means of training and discipline. The moment they enter the temple, Buddhist monks break off all links to the human world. They throw away all their lust and all forms of desire and anger, and put everything into ascetic training until they reach a state of nothing. This method of ascetic training is called Zen. It's a traditional method of self-culturing through quiet meditation of thinking about the origins of objects. Buddhist monks of Korea reach the state of spiritual enlightenment through such processes of ascetic training and discipline. As all religions have, Buddhism of the 3 Beseto countries has developed within the masses and has controlled the minds and cultures of its people.
The central thought of Buddhism is non-existence, so the tomb of Buddha does not exist anywhere. Buddha, who was once a prince of a kingdom, left his elaborate lifestyle and chose the path of penance to achieve spiritual enlightenment. And the monks of the 3 Beseto countries follow his teachings. Although their looks and ways of training may differ according to each country, they still share the same hopes of casting away greed and helping mankind. Well, thank you for joining me, and I'll see you on the next Beseto Express.